Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Happy New Year's, and that's probably late by the time you see this, let's be real here. But today we're going to be ranking every quest in the game, and they'll be ranked out of 12 points for this ranking. 5 points are going to the actual quest itself, and how creative it is. 5 is for how easily you can understand how to actually do the quest, or what the quest provides, the actual text on it. And then 2 extra for the rewards it gives. And then for the rewards, keep in mind that I'm not really going to be considering the stickers when talking about the rewards, because first of all, who even uses stickers? I bet only 5% of the stickers in the game actually get used, and second of all, no one realistically cares about the stickers, so I'll really only be considering the followers and the skins. And one final thing, a request might be ranked higher than another request, even though its overall score is lower, and that's just because I like the request more in general, but it won't be an extremely it won't be an extreme difference usually, only 1 or 2 points. But I am rushing this entire video in one day, so let's just get right into it. Starting off with the elephant in the room, if you weren't aware, around half of all the requests are just to do daily quests, since Pixel didn't want to overwork themselves and also would run out of ideas and the whole thing. And because of this, we're basically going to be putting them all in the same tiers. So we'll say that numbers 25 through number 15 are all the daily quest requests. This guy saw some in my community, actually came up with a pretty good idea that I'm surprised Pixel had never thought of, which is that the daily quest request would actually go with the daily quest of the hero that's giving it. So for example, the Lemonade Cat request would tell you to do the Lemonade Profits daily quest. I said quest 5,000 times there, but whatever. Interesting idea, but unfortunately it was never implemented. And then with all that being said, just know that at number 15, the highest one is Keith, because we love Keith. And so overall, all of them kind of get 1 point for the quest itself, 5 for how easy it is to understand, and 0 for rewards, making it 6 out of 12 for all of them. Now moving on to actual unique requests, we immediately start with a not very creative one, being the Juniper request at number 14. This one was literally just another Pixies type request, where randomly ornaments would spawn on any map. But on wave 5 at least, it was guaranteed to spawn on any map, so at least it's something. But thankfully this is one of the first requests, so if you just did all the other requests, you probably would have gotten it by the time you finished it. But overall, this one gets a 1 for the quest itself, 5 for how easy it is to understand, and 1 for the reward, making it a 7 out of 12. I like the ornament follower. Next, at number 13 is the Apple Farmer request. To get it, you need to go to the Fruitful Fight map, talk to the banana guy, and kill a bunch of banana birds to spawn a fruit tree. Honestly, I don't really understand why this is a request. Every other one had something to do with Christmas, and this one just didn't really have anything to do with Christmas at all, besides the boss being a tree. I don't know, I wasn't really a fan of it. But overall, it gets a 3 for the request. For the request itself, 4 for how easy it is to understand, and 1 for the rewards. The request was very easy to understand, because even though it didn't say to kill the birds, you could easily tell us on Fruitful Fight. I mean, come on. Which was not... there were some other requests out there that you didn't really know which map it would be on, so... yeah, then once you knew it was on Fruitful Fight, it was pretty easy to get from there. So overall, it gets an 8 out of 12. At number 12, and this one kind of hurts me to say, it's got to be Robin. The request itself is horrible, but the making of the gingerbread is incredible. It's really weird to rank. Since it's going off the, purely off the request itself, it gets a 0 for the quest on its own, 5 for how easy it is to understand, and 2 for the rewards. See, the only thing the quest actually makes you do is walk into the bakery thing and escape. You don't even have to make a cookie. Not to mention, if you did want to make one and publish it, it would cost Robux. And, I mean, that's kind of unfortunate, but, it is what it is. And that being said, I did make a cookie, which officially brought Ghastly Gateway into Tower Heroes, making this request special to me, but unfortunately, due to the rules of this, it kind of has to be ranked low, and so overall has a 7 out of 12. And number 11 is the Tori request. You had to get a top hat from any boss that was wearing a top hat and put it on a snowman in Glowing Glacier. The thing about this is that said snowman that you put a hat on has been the snowman in Glowing Glacier, that's been a part of a couple other contracts, so the idea is kind of overdone. My biggest problem with it, honestly, is that it's kind of hard to assume the top hat thing, because at least during the time that request was made, the weekly was Big Shot, which has a boss that has a top hat, making it easy to accidentally figure out. But without that weekly, it's hard to accidentally figure out what you need to do, because you just have to randomly click on the top hat on any boss, and nowhere does it say to rebuild a snowman. So Yeah, I mean, at least you can kind of assume it's on Glacier because Tori's a mountain climber and also had a previous contract on the map. The boss itself is really sick and definitely helps it out, but overall it gets a 4 for the quest itself, 2 for how easy it is to understand, and 2 in the rewards, making it an 8 out of 12. At number 10 is Elf. This one's actually pretty interesting, and I think it's a pretty cool idea. Basically, as the request says, you have to ask NPCs around the lobby where Elf is, which I actually kind of like a lot. Like, I think that's pretty cool. And then it kind of gets boring because the actual quest is just in their claw machine level. Don't get me wrong, I like the claw machine levels, but it's just kind of uncreative. I mean, the follower you get from it is absolutely peak though, so overall it gets a 3 in the quest, 4 in how easy it is to understand, and 2 in the rewards, making it a 9 out of 12. At number 9 is the Lil Chip Jr. request. To get it, you have to kind of... It's actually... I thought it was pretty cool. When I first discovered this, I thought it was very cool. To get it, you have to make electric slimes go on these outlets in Rooftop Rumble through, like, fencing. I really like this idea. I think it's pretty creative. But the boss itself and the rewards are not that crazy. Like, I'm just not that big of a fan of Dasher, really. But the request is pretty well made, and it's a good puzzle to solve. Since it includes roof and lights in it, you can kind of assume it has to do with Rooftop Rumble. And since they made it snow on that map, it's pretty obvious there's something unique on it. So overall, I'd give it a 4 in the quest itself, 4 for how easy it is to understand, and a 1 in the rewards, making it a 9 out of 12. And number 8 is the Lumni request. I hope I pronounced that right. This one's pretty interesting. So the request itself is absolutely horrible, but it's not as bad as it seems. The only real issue with it is that it gives 0 clues as to what maps it's on. Literally no idea. Like, there is 0 hints. Like, it's on Frigid Fortress, but like, there's no clue at all, really. But anyways, on Fortress, you have to light up lanterns in the patterns that the stars above the map show, which is a very cool idea, and I'm very proud of myself for figuring that out on my own. But I was already told what map it was on, so I don't know. That's kind of, I guess, the big part of it. But that's actually hinted at in the contract itself with, you know, including the word stars and lights. The boss is also insanely cool, so that's helping out definitely a lot. Overall, it gets a 5 in the quest, 2 in how easy it is to understand, and 2 in the rewards, making it a 9 out of 12. Number 7, the Stump one. It's a Sound Sanctuary one. Well, I guess there's 2, but you know. This one was written in Morse code, which, interesting, I guess, but it says, oh, I'm definitely gonna mispronounce this. Kikazaru. That's definitely butchered. Finding her is not easy. That's what it says once it's translated. This might look random and give 0 clues, but it's actually pretty well written. Kikazaru, however the hell you pronounce it, actually translates to hear no evil, or just not hearing. And with the stump sending the letter, it's all of it kind of points to Sound Sanctuary. Along with that, the way to activate the request is to turn off all your in-game volume, which is actually pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty cool that Sound Sanctuary is silent, you know. What's not cool is that it's an escort contract. This makes it basically necessary to do it on casual mode with modifiers, which is basically what normally was done, but that's kind of unfortunate, you know. And then the second part of the quest says it's not easy, meaning that you have to do it in medium mode. And I like that's just really cool. I mean, I don't know. Overall, this is probably the best worded request in the game. Like, it's a great puzzle that can actually be kind of solved pretty easily, but the quest itself is kind of annoying, and no one realistically likes escorts. So overall, 3 for the quest itself, 5 for how easy it is to understand, and 1 for the reward, making it a 9 out of 12. Next up at number 6 is Todd. I don't know why his name is that. It's the furnace from Snowy Slopes. From that alone, you can probably get that the request is from Snowy Slopes, like just like the sender. And it's pretty cool. Basically, from a random trapdoor in the map, a bread will pop out, and you have to drag the bread into the giant furnace. The dragging physics is a little bit goofy, but you can probably get it down. It's a little bit weird. But the hardest part of the whole thing, honestly, is actually beating Snowy Slopes easy mode. But once you get that down, once that happens, once you beat the map, Tasty Cakes will spawn on a bonus wave, and the amount of Tasty Cakes that spawn actually depend on how much loaves of bread you put in the furnace. And the cool part is that their HP will be lower depending on how much bread there is, making it really easy if you just put a bunch of bread in, over 50 or whatever. And really, the real reason this is so high is because the Tasty Cake follower grows with how many you kill, kind of like the turkeys. And I've seen some crazy things. So yeah, overall, this contract gets a 4 for the quest, 4 for how easy it is to understand, and 2 for the rewards, making it a 10 out of 12. Now, number 5 and number 4 are kind of weird because they're the Santa requests. If you don't know, Santa actually has 2 requests, despite one of them not appearing, with one of them appearing at the very beginning and the last one at the very end. And number 5 is the one at the very end, only being acquired once you get every other request in the game. This also gives you the Holiday Hero badge. Since this includes all the daily quest ones and just every request, it kind of gets dragged down because, you know, there's still negative parts about all the other ones. So overall, it gets a 4 in the quest itself, 5 in how easy it is to understand, and a 2 in the rewards, because the followers are really cool, making it 11 out of 12 total. Next, the other Santa request is kind of weird, as you get a skin for 6 requests, 12 requests, and then 18 requests completed. These are skins, though, not just followers, so it gets heavily boosted because of that, especially because the skins are really good. And overall, this one gets a 4 for the quest, 5 for how easy it is to understand, and 2 for the rewards, making it also 11 out of 12. But I like it more because it's skins, you know. Finally, we have the top 3, which I think a lot of people expected these to be top 3. Number 3, Holiday Dinner. Immediate 12 out of 12, hands down. Like, to get it, you have to go into Bustling Bakery, which can be assumed through the fact that Chef talked about an oven and making a meal, which realistically could be, like, leave the only literal bakery as the only option. Then you have to go open the fridge, take out cold turkey, and put it in the oven. That is the most creative and stupid idea out of this entire event. And, like, the actual boss fight's even cooler. After you beat the fruitcake, the turkey comes out of the oven and bolts to the door. Not the exit of the map, the literal door of the bakery. This makes it a really unique experience, and actually takes some competent teamwork, since you have to, like, place your heroes correctly, which I know is hard for some people, because let's be real, public servers are horrible, but, like, if you're like me and got carried, then, you know, it's pretty fun. So, not to mention that the follower is also really cool, and honestly, it's just a perfect, oh my god, it's just like a perfect quest all around. So 5 for the quest, 5 for how easy to understand, and 2 for the rewards. Now, at number 2 is the Tiny Crew contract. So, to begin, you start this contract by letting a coal enemy leak into a house in Canyon Calamity, which will eventually spawn a toy train on a faraway railroad track. You have to get the train down to 5,000 HP for it to drop a weird present named Do Not Open, which you collect. You can assume it's on Canyon Calamity due to the houses and the fact that it's a toy train that's sending the request, and there's tracks all over the canyon. And next you have to morph into the present and go into a random casual mode map, which is kind of implied since you can see Jester designs on the present, and of course Jester's RNG. Then the present will open once you click on it and give you a ticket. The only part I think could have been a little more clear is this next one, but you use a ticket near a toy train in Toy Takeover, and it sends you into a new Polar Express map, which is so, it's just so incredible. It's really, really cool. I really, really like it a lot. Even though, you know, I might have hated it on launch, because it was really hard to beat once it was first released, but it's been nerfed, and it's not too hard anymore, so it's not that bad. Just use like Lure, Branch, Lemonade Cat, Scientist, Bloom Pound Spectre, and that's really it. So overall, just a 12 out of 12 request with 5 points for quest, 5 for how easy to understand, and 2 for the rewards. Since there's so many new enemies, and on the new map you also get the boss followers, which are really cool, and just a great way to end off the requests, and definitely one of the coolest ones. But what if there was one request even cooler? Even colder, right? I know, that's a stupid joke, I'm sorry. Imagine this, right? It's a cold day outside with snow falling everywhere. As you look outside your window, you're about to open Tower Heroes, expecting an incredible new request to be solved. You think to yourself, hopefully this one wasn't too bad. You know, the previous ones weren't too horrible, besides maybe like the stump one, it was a little bit of like an ARG. But you finally open the game. Open up the menu, only to be met with this. Eternal winter is approaching, wrath only grows, hope and power shining down, promise gleaming all around, show them your might, put an end to this blight. What does this mean? That is right, number 1,
Is it question mark, Hoobra, or Jollyrath? There is literally zero idea of what to do here, besides the icon of the request, which shows a mistletoe. So what do you think the answer is here? Genuinely, what could the possible answer to this be? Everyone was trying to figure this out. The only other hint, kind of, is that the icon changed to Jollyrath hovering over Guardia from the Stump contract. So you go into Sound Sanctuary, right? Because that's where Guardia is. And you get a level 5 wizard next to the giant wizard staff. Use its ability, which keep in mind is never referenced anywheres. Then randomly heroes will appear on crystal towers near it, and you have to change the heroes to the ones in the stained glass from Sunken Sanctum. I'm getting lightheaded screaming. What? Just stopping here and thinking about this. Why? Apparently they expected people to think that Sunken Sanctum is actually under Sound Sanctuary canonically, so like there's a connection there, but it doesn't make any sense. Whatever. Once you do this, you get a sticker of a broken helmet, which you can then go into Sunken Sanctum and use in front of this weird crystal thing. Then you get sent into an absolutely incredible special quest. Might be my favorite one in the entire game, honestly, where your entire team gets put into a PvP mode where there's 2 teams, but you can swap teams at any point. So you basically are doing 2 maps at once, and you also get put into this really cool snowy version of Sunken Sanctum, which I just love. The boss, Jollyrath himself, I think has an incredible design, and overall I think this quest is honestly just so funny and so perfect. With that being said, he gets a 5 for the quest, 2 for the rewards, and a 0 for how easy to understand. 7 out of 12. So I'm saying, why is it number 1 then? I'm biased, okay? You see, for the first hours, for the first couple of hours, where no one had any idea what was going on, everyone was making really stupid posts with the request icon just being plastered over anything, and it was one of the funniest times in this entire community, in my opinion. Even this thumbnail itself is a stupid thing. You can see just the icon of Jollyrath on it for no reason, and everyone was hating on it, and it was beautiful. Hilo even said that it wasn't hard to find. Like, he said it was easy to understand, which no one agreed with. I don't know, I thought it was really funny. So yeah, that is the ranking. A little bit of bias towards the end, definitely, but I really loved this event. I think it was really well made, honestly, and a lot of the requests were pretty good, even if I hated some of them. I wonder what they'll do next year for Christmas, since last year it was crafting and now it's this. But overall, this was a great event. And with that being said, thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, whatever. See you all next video. And for now, my friend, ladies and gentlemen. Toodles.